For this assignment, you have the option of either taking a current photo and just making some adjustments to the content, such as removing people or garbage, as well as maybe making changes to the composition just so that it appears a little bit nicer. Or you can repair an old damaged photo. It's kind of up to you which you would rather try to do. One might seem more relevant to you than the other. This one, I'm just going to take a photo that was recent and I'm going to make just some adjustments to it in order to improve it so that there's less busyness, so there's more clarity. Because obviously the two things I really care about in this image are them and the background, not these others, these losers in the back. But if you want to do the image restoration, if you choose to do that one instead, just watch the next video. You can just skip past this one. Okay. That being said, we are going to make some adjustments to this. So first thing I'm going to do is just take this layer, and I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate it. I'm going to hit Control J, or you can, I'm going to rename this, and we'll just call this the original, okay? And I'm just going to lock that back up, and we're just going to rename this one edited, okay? It's just to make sure that we don't run into any major issues. Okay. And I'm also going to turn this one off just in case. Okay. So normally what I would say is make the broad strokes, like go ahead and do the cropping and stuff. But we're going to do something a little bit different with this. What I want to do first in my case is actually just want to remove these people because I find them annoying. So that being said, what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of start cutting in and then just start removing them. So I'll just start on the right here. I'll try to do this relatively quickly. Okay, so I don't like this lady and these guys. They're conspiring for something. Who knows what. So I just want to get rid of them. So most of the tools we're going to be using are going to be over here. Now, you'll see we have the spot healing brush, and there's also the remove tool. They kind of do the same thing, but the remove tool does a better job. I'm guessing that this is brand new. I'm guessing that this is part of like the generative AI stuff where it's just more advanced, like the algorithm that's using, and it might even maybe use cloud computing. I'm not sure. But just be aware, if you have remove tool, you're probably better off with that one. If you don't, you can try using the spot healing tool. I'm just going to go ahead and use the remove tool, and we'll see how well this works. I'm going to get it even closer so I can make a little bit better of adjustment. Okay, so I have the remove tool. It's to make the brush bigger or smaller. You just want to use the bracket keys to the right of your P key. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller, maybe a little smaller yet. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to brush over her. Okay. Like so. Boom. And we will see. Sometimes it does a good job. Sometimes it does not as good a job. But I'm going to hope that this does a good job. And then we'll let go. It will do its thing. And you can see it did a pretty good job. I mean, to me, that's like magic. There's this little bit here, but that's not a big deal. I'm just going to go ahead, do a little splotch there, and voila. And that is absolutely ridiculous to me that it does such a good job. And I'm just going to kind of go through and do that to a bunch of them. Now, like I said, it might not do as good of a job as you would like. And if that's the case, just undo it, try to redo it. And if it's still not doing a good job, then you might have to try a different method. We'll probably have to employ some different methods here as we go anyway. So when we get to those, you can just kind of come back if there's something you're trying to do. Just do that. One thing I will say is make sure that if you're going to error, you want to go too far. If you don't go all the way past the edge of what you're trying to remove, that will be there still. So we'll go like that, and voila, you can see that they are gone. That is fabulous. Yay, right? So much more clean. Just holding space bar, and then if you hold Alt and scroll wheel, that's another way of doing it, or you can do Control plus and minus, okay? So I'm just going to go over here, and I'm just going to slowly remove people. Right, so I'm like Thanos over here, just getting it done, right? No snapping necessary. I don't know if you guys are Marvel fans, or the MCU fans, I should say more specifically. But all right, and we're just gonna go right down the line. You can see I'm just gonna hold space bar. Okay. Fortunately, I did not go far enough, so we'll just go, and I might have to remove it. Oh no, okay, I got far enough. Looks great. I'm gonna leave her because she's a happy-looking employee. This guy's working. I'm going to let him stay too. Now we're just going to look behind these people, and we're just going to try and remove more. But this remove tool is absolutely fantastic. So this is like brand new. What I'll do is I'll show you what it looks like when you try to do it little mess ups here and there. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of, see what I'm saying, just do a little bit. It might even make sense. See how I just did a stroke because it looked a little bit interrupted there, but when I did it again, it helped it fix it a little bit. Okay. So we'll just kind of go over here and let's remove that. This is going to get a little bit, you know, iffy because I got to go into my daughter here. Hopefully it doesn't remove her cheek. Did a little bit, but you can see it's a little bit noisy there, but we'll just kind of, it's good enough. Let's see. Good enough. Okay. So we are going to have some issues here, but we would need to do some more advanced techniques that we haven't really covered yet as far as selection and stuff is concerned. So let's just go ahead and remove these people. Okay. And I'm just going to do the best I can. I went a little bit too far there, but she doesn't need a shoulder. We'll just kind of brush that again. A little bit better. Okay. And now I am just going to remove these. Okay, so I'm going to do the spot healing just so you can see how that works. It's good for little things. So see this little dot here? Generally what you want to do is make it the same size as it, and it will remove. But what I want to do is show you if it's something larger like this. This is also feathered, but I can unfeather it too. You'll see it won't make much difference. It doesn't do nearly as good of a job. I mean, I don't even know why I grabbed her legs, right? So I'm going to go back to remove tool, and now we'll try with this one. Make sure you get the shadows too, because otherwise they will be there, and there will be a shadow of a person, and everyone will know that you changed the image. Fabulous, okay? I'm going to go through and just remove the rest of these. I'm going to pause it. There'll probably be some errors and stuff, and then I'll show you how to fix it afterwards. All right, so there was a major error right from the get-go, so I actually want to show you it, just because I think it will be good for you to see, because you're going to have to do some things on your own. Not everything is given for free, but I'm just going to go ahead and try to remove this girl, and you're going to see it's going to be, right? Because it doesn't know what's behind there. It's trying to do its best with it, with what it has, but obviously there's a limit to the technology. It can't create what isn't there. I remember reading this this one book, and it was about this guy that first started doing 3D animation. I gotta get rid of the shadow here too. Was doing 3D animation, and he had spent, like, back in those days, the computers were like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, it was more than his mortgage just for this computer. So you can see it didn't do a perfect job. I might be able to get rid of that just by doing this. Good. But he was saying that somebody had brought in it was security footage from a casino, and when they had this footage, and basically they wanted, man, that did such a good job. They asked the guy. They had this footage of this guy from this footage, and the guy was holding this briefcase, and they had asked the author, the guy that did the 3D animation, he wanted them to rotate the footage, the image, so that they could see what was on the briefcase. Hopefully you get the idea of why that's not possible. He's like, I don't think you guys quite understand how 3D animation works. I can't, you can't rotate something that isn't there. So the computer can only do so much, and to be frank, I feel like it does a better job than I could do by default. Much quicker, right? This is the things it does well are things that are patterned. Now, if you have a very obvious pattern behind, you'll actually have a much easier time trying to make those fixes, okay? I'm going to leave the people back here alone for now. Let's see. Oh, it did pretty okay. But it's going to... Yeah, it does pretty okay. But you can see it's not perfect. So I would just suggest, sometimes what I'll do is little dabs like this, and sometimes that'll work pretty well. But it's a little bit confused as to what to do there. Obviously here is very messed up, okay? But for the most part, I think I got rid of most of the people that I wanted to get rid of. That's a little bit better, okay? So this is a really common thing that you probably would want to do. So we did good there. Now, what I'm going to do is make a more deliberate adjustment myself, okay? So to do that, we're actually going to go over here, and you're going to choose the healing brush tool, okay? Oh, actually, let's do the spot healing brush just so you can see how that works. I did show you a second ago, but it's good for, like, getting rid of things. So, like, this little bit here, I'm just going to heal brush it. Just gets rid of little specks and things. In particular, it's pretty good at, right? So I just want that little... just want the little inconsistencies. Maybe I want this gone. So if you have things like trash, This is Disney, so they're pretty good about cleaning up their trash, right? Yeah, there we go. You could use it for those things. So if there was repairs and stuff you need to do, or remove items and things like that, this would be really good. So these are kind of the more, we'll call, free things that you could potentially remove. Okay, let's try and do this now. I have a problem here, but see, I have these columns, right? This one's almost okay, but you see, it's not quite where it needs to be. But I have a good column right here. So what I'm going to use instead, this is my favorite one, is the healing brush tool. So with the healing brush tool, what I'm going to do is I'll make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to hold Alt, and you'll see a little target symbol pops up. See a little target? What I try to do is I try to put it on a very specific spot. Like I won't just broadly go like here, because that's hard to tell where it's going to be when I line up. What I'll do is put it on like an exact edge. So I'm putting it right in this corner. See how that corner is very obvious? Now what I can do is line it up here. And then as I draw, it's kind of like the clone stamp tool. But unlike the clone stamp tool, it will also heal as it's going. So it'll match the background better. It takes the content that it's going into account. So then what I'm going to do is just brush this in as best as I can. Like so. All right. It's not perfect, but it's something. It also might, oh no, the blend pattern, it's normal. Okay. Let's move this out of the way. Yeah, we're sampling all layers. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that over here as well. Click back on this. And I don't have to re-click, so I'm just going to keep using that same one. But it's not going to 100% work because these are getting a little bit bigger. But it's something. So I'm just going to kind of brush that. And then this one's mostly okay. I wonder if I can sample this one instead. So I'm going to go over here and do the same thing. I'm going to kind of... actually, I'm going to start sampling from this corner right there, because I'll just match that one to here. Yeah, see, it's making it pretty dark. It actually didn't do a very good job, so I'm not very happy with that one. Let's see if maybe we could try this one. So one of the things you want to do is if you can switch up where you're sampling, it's actually better because otherwise you'll see the constant pattern over and over again. I'm actually going to sample from this one, which is a sample of the sample. Let's see if we can get it go here. So you can see it's not quite working 100% the way that I was hoping. So what we can try and do is something like this. I'm just going to try and take this and bring it down. So we're going to sample up in the top here. Let's go a little lower here, okay? And I'm just going to brush down like that. And then we'll kind of sample from here and brush down. And from here and brush down. It's not perfect, but it's something. I'm going to sample from this one's here and use that for this guy here, because that's cleaner than what I have here now. Again, not perfect, but maybe slightly acceptable. Now, it would be nice is... All right, so yeah, it would be nice to kind of fix the bottom of the columns, but I'm going to try and approach that later. I want to show you a different tool. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool, and I decided I want to try and get rid of these guys just for fun, because there's this fuzziness here too. So I'm going to grab the polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to click, and click, 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 click. Boom, like that. Make a selection. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use Content Aware Fill. So just go Edit, Content Aware Fill. Now, what it's going to do is the green represents where it's going to sample from. So in this case, I do not want to sample from this because this one's all garbage, right? And I don't need to sample from any of this stuff down here. None of that's going to help me. And none of this is going to help me either, so I'm going to unsample all of that. It can sample from here, and also over here would be a good spot. So I'm going to hit the plus and tell it to sample from this area, because this is actually pretty close to what I want over there. Okay? And you can actually see the results right here. So it just mostly made it kind of dark, and then we'll just hit OK. And now you can see I'm going to hit Control D to clear my selection and go to Edit, Clear Selection. I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to click, 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 And boom. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing again. Edit, content aware fill. And right now it's sampling from, hang on a second. Why is it only sampling from there? It's kind of weird. Let you sample. I think I might have done something wrong. Hang on a second. Let's see. Should be good. Let's try this again. Just gonna do a selection. I'm just gonna use the marquee this time. All right. Then let's try again. Edit, content aware fill. We'll just hit OK. I'm not sure why it's just making it black. Oh, I know why. Because when it did the content aware fill, it put it on a new layer. I'm actually gonna go ahead and merge that down. Didn't see that. Okay, let's try it again. So you just right click and you choose merge down. Don't click merge visible, but it should be like merge down. All right, let's try it again. Edit, content aware fill. Okay, good. Once again, I'm just going to tell it not to sample any of this. And you can see it's going to do a better job once it knows it's not supposed to be sampling any of this stuff down here. Also, don't need maybe that. I'm getting a little something extra there. I don't know if it's because of this. Let's see if we remove that. There we go. See how that made it better? And then we'll just hit OK. And that looks pretty okay. I mean, it's not great. It's mostly just made it black. And I could do the same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and do the lasso again. And we're just going to try and get this guy going. Boom. Okay. Same thing as before. Go down here. Make sure I'm not in that copy. Edit, content aware fill. The reason why it's doing that is, where does it say it? Output to new layer. We're just going to go ahead and say current layer. So that way it just keeps doing the same layer that it's in. And we're going to erase all of this out because that is not going to help me at all. None of this is going to help me. None of this is going to help me. Right? And that looks a little bit better. Probably don't need, there we go. We'll say that that's good enough and we'll hit OK. Okay. So that's a little bit better. Now, is it great? No. These bottoms need to be done. I would do things like cutting these out and basically pasting them. So I could take, again, use my polygonal lasso. I could go like this. Go like, try to get this shape, okay, across like that. I could take that, Control C to copy, then I can Control V to paste. I'll hit V to select, and it's right here. And then what I could do is try to put this here, hit Control T to scale. Control T is free transform, and do something like that. And then hit Enter. Control V again. I'm not sure where it went. There it is. Take this one, and then I could flip it. So I could just do Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal, just to get the other side of it. Control T. Try to match that up. A little bit more. Okay, something like that. And then what I could do is take all of these together, just click on one, held shift, click on the last one, and just do merge layers. That'll merge them together. And then I could do something where like I would do the spot healing brush here and like try to just smooth it out, right? But I would probably do something like that where I would just take pieces, copy and paste them and put them into place, but that would be time consuming. I don't really want to spend a whole bunch of time doing things like that because it's just, it would make a very long video and you know, kind of losing track of. I want you guys to just try and play around with these content aware tools. There is the red eye remove tool, but I never really used that. Okay, so we did spot, we did removing, we did healing brush. I don't think we did patch. Basically, what patch will allow you to do is I can sample one area to put it into another. So, for instance, let's say I wanted to have her also over here. What I could do with the patch tool, since there's two options, right now I'm on destination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, go over here like this, try to make the best selection I can. Let me go ahead and do the thing here. Now when I grab it and bring it over here, it's going to more or less kind of copy and paste it, but it's also going to heal. So just hit enter, and you can see now I have a second one. All right. Now I'm like, oh, I want her over there. And then what I could do is remove her here. So I could still use that patch tool, but this time I'm going to choose source, not destination. And you're going to see what this does. Is that when I drag it over, it's going to sample where I am and replace that with this. But not exactly. It's going to make some adjustments so that it matches. I'm going to hit Control D, or again, it's select, deselect. And now she's not there, but she is there. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the spot healing brush to get rid of this little thing here. This is where spot healing brush is good. So I'm just going to, like that. Voila. See? So now she's over there. And I find that's a little less distracting. I don't want these guys, you know, partying it up, right? So she's too close to the liquor. Okay. So that's a little bit better. All right. So that's the patch healing tool. That could be super useful. Now, let's go ahead and we are going to play around with a couple of other tools here. Okay, so one thing that you might want to do is I might be like, if you look at this composition, right, which is kind of what we were covering today, you can see that they are kind of centered. It might be nice if maybe I could put them over here where the image isn't so good, or put them on the 1/3 rule, right? So right now I would say it's probably sort of centered, actually. That's not very good either. But this isn't really, it's not being the 1/3 rule that I would like. So in fact, what I'm going to do is this, just to highlight this. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that because that'll be more confusing. Okay, so I just want to move them. I want to maybe make them bigger or move them over. So either this side or this side. I'm thinking over here because then I can kind of cover up my mistakes over here. We'll see how well this works because it doesn't always work real well. So I'm going to select them first. The easiest way to do that is I'm just going to go to the object selection. I'm going to kind of hover over her. I'm going to click. Now to add a selection, you'll hold Shift. Give it a second. Still trying to make that selection. Good. I'm going to hold Shift. You're going to see it turns into a plus. It's the same thing as clicking on it up here. Alt is remove. See, it turns to a minus or a plus. All right, so I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on him. Going to give it a second. Now, what you're going to notice is it doesn't, it doesn't entirely, like there's little pieces missing a little bit. So we're going to do kind of a different little trick before I did expand, but I'm going to try something else. We're going to cover this later, but I'm going to hit Q, which is quick mask mode. It's also clicking this. No, I don't want to do it that way because that's confusing. I don't want to teach you that yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and do expand. So let's go to select. Let's do the modify, and let's do expand first. And let's expand by, let's say, 5 pixels to start with. All right, because remember, what we want to do is we want to make sure we're going past the edge. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's also do select. And I'm going to switch to this so that way I don't have all the things there. We're going to switch, and we're going to go to select, modify, and let's do smooth. That's a lot. Let's do 5 pixels. And that's just going to smooth out the selection a little bit. So you can see she's still missing a little bit up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my polygonal lasso. And I'm just going to hold Shift so that adds to it. And I'm just going to go like this. I was hoping that that would be enough to grab her, but it's not. Then I'll double click. And we're missing a little down here. See that little nublet there? So I'm just going to click, 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 double click. And yeah, we're mostly around them. It's pretty good. Okay, so now that I've made a selection of them, what I can do, because I could, anyway, what I can do now is actually move them. So go over here, and you'll see Content Aware Move tool. Okay. Now, make sure the mode says move. If you do extend, what that's going to do is it basically, let's say you got a tree and you want to make it thinner or wider or something. You're trying to like extend it, or you got a house and you want to go farther. I'm not looking to extend. What I'm looking to do is to move the actual objects. Structure will try to keep it like it is right now. Meaning like if I take the structure down, it will, I guess I'd almost call it like details. It will remove and try to make it match what I'm putting in there more. So generally speaking, I put this at 7 so that way it doesn't change their structure. Color does the opposite. What it'll do is that the higher the number is, the more it will try to match their color to where you're putting them. So that could make sense to put that at a high number. If you want, let's say I'm going to put them in the water or something, then yes, I probably want that higher so that would put like a blue tint, right? But in this case, they're in the same atmosphere. Like I'm just moving them over. So it really shouldn't make that much of a difference. So I'm going to put that one at 0. I think by default this is 4, and this might be 3. You could try putting them in the middle and see what happens, but I'm just going to do that. All right. Then I'm going to have transform on drop, so you'll see what I'm talking about with that. So I'm just going to, you know what else I forgot? Was their shadow. Okay. So I'm just going to do this real quick so you can see. I'm going to hit Control D. You can do this by just selecting it. By default, this thing is a lasso tool. And then you would grab it and move it. I just did it the other way so I'd have a better selection. But I'm just going to add their shadow to this. I'm going to hold Shift so that I'm adding to my selection. And I'm just going to kind of draw around their shadows because those were not included. And it would be kind of weird if their shadows are left. Okay, so now the shadows are also included. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move them over. So what you do is you just hover over it. I'm going to click. I'm going to drag. And I'm going to say I want them over here so no one can see that I messed that all up. Okay. Now, once you do that, you can see these transforms happen. So I would like them, even though it's not generally good practice, I'd like to make them bigger. So I'm going to hold, I'm going to grab this corner and actually, come on, and make them, wow, you know work. There you go. And make them a little bit bigger so that they're like, and I'm going to pull them down this way so that way they're more of the focus. And then when I'm done, I'll hit enter. And then we'll pray to the Adobe gods that it does a good job. And it kind of did an okay job, minus this extra head over here. And you can see it kind of got this work too. So I've been having mixed results. Sometimes this works really well. Sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of weird. So I'm not sure why I have better results sometimes and less others. Let me try not scaling. I'm just going to put them over here and then we'll hit enter. I didn't try scaling them before. I had a weird thing where if this was still the locked layer, it was fine. So let me show you an example of this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn this one off. I'm going to put this one on. I'm going to select this layer. Now watch this. This is going to totally work fine. I'm going to, it's because, see, now it's not going to work. When I was doing it on the original layer and it wasn't locked, it was doing a good job. Oh, see, it did a bad job anyway. Okay. I'm not sure why it's doing that. So I'm going to try this real quick. I'm going to save this real fast. I'm going to do File, Save As. Let's see if this fixes it. Actually, we're going to lock this first. I'm going to do File, Save As. I'm just going to save it right to my desktop. And we'll just call this Kids at Disney. Okay. I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to open that back up. File, Open Recent, Kids at Disney. All right, zoom in here. All right, and now we're going to try and do this again and see if this works. And I'm just going to do a real broad stroke. It should be fine because this is content aware stuff. So we'll go like that. Oh, see, it doesn't like it because it's... all right, and yeah, see, structure's all the way up. So let's move them over there this time. Okay, so it at least did a better job on them, even though it left a little bit of her. I'm not sure why there's such inconsistency with it. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to bring it over here because I actually want them over here. Let's see if I could scale it up still. See if it does a better job this time. Okay, well, at least it didn't break oops, didn't mean to do that. At least it didn't break them. Not sure why I'm having such a terrible time with the thing there. It's just doing a bad job. So it'd be better, obviously, if this was a little bit tighter. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to stop this, I'm going to do a tighter graph. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and move that over there like that. It's going to do a bad job. And then, man, did it even worse. It's super inconsistent. So that's the problem I'm having with it. So we're going to go like this. I'm going to go ahead and make this considerably larger. And then we'll go like that. Yeah, see, I don't usually use this tool, to be honest, so I'm not sure if that's where the problem lies, because I don't know why I'm getting doubles. To put this in perspective, if I were to open up that image again, so watch, if I open up, cancel, if I open up the open recent, let's say I grab this picture, watch if I do it here. You'll see why I get frustrated. I'm just going to do a bad job. Okay, now watch, I'll bring it over here like I want. Scale it up. And then you'll see it'll do, I mean, minus some of the other issues, but see how it's fine, like it's not affecting them. So it's just very inconsistent. So I'm not sure why that's happening. No, but for some reason when I do it here, it's not a big fan. So yeah, it's just deciding to rip apart their faces. So you may or may not be able to use it. We'll find out, I guess. I'm going to try a different technique. So what we're going to do is use the patch tool. So I'm going to go to the patch tool. And not that one. We want to do destination. And let me see. I can't choose to put on a new layer. Okay. So I'm going to take this and we're going to just put it over here. Control Z. I don't know if this will work better. Why are you doing that? Okay. See, that's not working well. Why is it on that one? There we go. See, it's making it all light. All right. Well, I guess we won't move them because it doesn't seem to like it. So this may or may not work for you. When I had done it, like I said earlier, it worked, and then I did another time and it didn't work. So pretend like it did work. Then what we're going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and just, I'm not going to bother right now, but I would just go through and remove all of that. I just want to cover one other thing, really. So I would fix any issues you see here just manually. We'll be doing this in class too, so just follow along. We'll see how it goes in class. Maybe it'll work better there. So another thing I want to do is I'm just going to clear that selection. The other thing I wanted to show you was the content-aware scale. So this one I also get mixed results on, but we'll give it a go. So basically what you do is you go to edit, content-aware scale. And what this allows you to do is it will scale it, but it will only shrink certain parts of it. So, why is it saying, make sure this is 100%. Oops. Okay. And we'll also protect skin. I don't think skin's going to work on this one, though. Yeah, because it thinks this is skin, so don't put that one on in this case. Normally, you'd want this. Like, if this was all green and blue and stuff, if you put on this, it'll protect the skin tones, which is more likely to protect your people. So I'm going to hold Shift, and you'll see as I go, hang on, let me zoom out so you can see. So as I go, notice that it truncates the top. See how the top is truncating? And then watch, it'll start to truncate the bottom. But basically what it does is it tries to keep details. So I can actually kind of scale this in and get, a different composition. And then from here, I could go through and do my crop tool. Like so. And now I have this beheaded, terrible, scary looking thing. But again, there are some other issues here that you can see as well. So there's some other methods you could do. So for instance, I could be like, I just want to do content aware scale only on this area, or maybe I only want to do it on the sky, right? Like I want to truncate this. You could select that, go edit content aware scale, and then I'm just going to hold Shift, and then you'll see it's only going to shrink that part. It's not going to do too good here because there is detail right in the middle. But watch, if I do it from this side to this side, see how it doesn't affect any of that? Because it's just going to remove the sky. So this works really well when you have kind of open areas or even repeating kind of pattern areas that aren't super obvious, like buildings and stuff. If they start to get truncated and people and stuff, and like this line is really obvious, those will become, more issues. But even here, what I would do if I was like super in love with what this is, I would just go through and use that heal brush, or I'm sorry, the spot healing, and I would just brush it like this and just remove those lines. See, no one's going to know anyway. So voila. I solved the problem. The problem is solved. And you could even do content-aware fill. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So I want you to do is just remove any extraneous things that you don't want in the image. Maybe adjust the composition however you can if you have any luck with the grabbing and moving of objects. Obviously, I had less luck with it. Like, can I grab this guy? Let's see. Let's try moving him. And I did a bad job of selecting. Let's try this guy. But try moving things around and seeing if you like. Let's say we put it here. And see if you have any good. See, did a good job there. That's dumb. I don't know. Just wasn't working on them for some reason. It'll work better if you don't have a bunch of noise, objects and such. All right. That would be it. So good luck. Like I said, either follow this tutorial or the